Namo Buddhassa. The four foundations of mindfulness. He dwells contemplating the origination factors of the breath body. Or he dwells contemplating the dissolution factors of the breath body. Or he dwells contemplating both the origination and dissolution factors of the breath body. Here, origination factors mean the factors which bring about the breath. The commentator explained it with a simile. When a blacksmith wants to produce fire, he uses the bellows. There are the bellows, and there is something at the end of the bellows, which is called the spout, and there are the efforts of the blacksmith. Depending on these three things, air is produced to make a fire with the bellows, the spout and the efforts of the smith. In the same way, in order to produce breath, you need a physical body, the nasal aperture, and the mind. Depending on these three things, each breath is produced in the body. Without them, there can be no breath. Therefore, these three things are called origination factors of the breath. When you are practicing meditation on the breath, sometimes the thoughts may come to you. Because there is a body, because there is a nasal aperture, and there is a mind, there is the breath. When you are contemplating this, you are said to contemplate on the origination factors of your breath. Dissolution factors mean the opposite. When there is no physical body, there can be no breath. When there is no nasal aperture, there can be no breath. And when there is no mind, there can be no breath. These three things, breaking out of the body, destruction of the nasal aperture, and the cessation of the mind to function, are called the dissolution factor of the breath. So when you contemplate on these three factors, you are said to be contemplating on the dissolution factors of the breath. And when you are contemplating on all the six factors, you are said to contemplate on the both, the origination and the dissolution factors of the breath. This should not be interrupt that you should deliberately search for these origination and dissolution factors. What it means is that when during meditation, the thought of these factors should arise, you should just recognize the origination or dissolution of the breath. These explanations are given in the ancient commentaries. Mahasi Sayadaw had something to add. He said that the observance of the rising and disappearance of breath is also mean in the passage. The Pali word for origination factor is samudaya dhammas. It can be factors by which something arises, but it can also mean the state or the nature of the arising or just arising. The same is true for the dissolution fetter. The Pali word for dissolution fetter is Vayadamas, which can mean fetters by which something dissolves. It can also mean the state of dissolving or just dissolution. Therefore, in the Venerable's opinion, meditators who are closely observe the rising of the breath, bit by bit, at the moment and at the place, such as the breath touching the tip of the nose, are said to be contemplating the samudaya dhamma or the breath or the arising of the breaths. Also, meditators who closely observe the experience bit by bit at the moment and at any place, such as the breath touching the tip or the nose, can be said to be contemplating Vaya Dhamma or the breath or the dissolution of the breath. When you watch the breath, first you see the beginning, the breath. Then the breath ends and you watch disappear. When you watch closely, you observe the rising and disappearance of the breath. It is therefore more natural and probable that you will see the rising and disappearance of breath than that you will see the fetters or the rising and disappearance. However, you cannot rule out the seeing or the cause of its rising and disappearing during meditation. Thus, both explains in the passage are applicable. For a second meaning, the translation could read, he dwells contemplating the rising nature in the breath body, or he dwells contemplating the dissolving nature in the breath body, or he dwells contemplating both the rising and dissolving nature in the breath body. Or his mindfulness is established as there is only breath body. When you keep your mind on the breath, there you see nothing else but breath. There is only breath, no person, no being, no woman, no man, no individual, no I, nothing pertaining to than the I, no soul, nothing pertaining the soul, and so on. There is only breath, but no one who is regulating the breath or who is giving orders to the breath. Who creates the breath? Just breath. In this way, mindfulness is established.